It's Alabama Annie with another episode of Stories and Songs for you. And boy, have I got you a story today. This is an answer about something that occurred back in the early 70s in a little town called Fyffe, Alabama. My friend Andy Deason recorded a story I'd written based on that before he passed away a couple of years ago. And it's here on the podcast. It's early up in the beginning of it. It's called Cow Abduction in Fyffe. Just give it a listen. And then listen to this one, which is something I ran up on online. It says, the title of this story, and it was the title I found online was something similar to this: UFO mystery in Fyffe, Alabama, solved. 94-year-old Jack Prater made a confession on his deathbed recently, surrounded by family and friends and a representative of the U.S. Army, concerning the rash of UFO sightings and incidents that had taken place in the little town of Fyffe, Alabama, located some 60 miles from Huntsville and NASA in the 1970s. You can believe what you want, but that TV show called The X-Files is closer to the truth than you think. And back when we got into the space race, it wasn't just to keep up with the Russians or the Chinese. No, there was a battle going on above us in the skies, and the danger was great that we would be overrun by those ugly little bastards, he said. Yes, I'm talking about aliens. Since the crash in Roswell, New Mexico back in the 1940s, we had captured 16 of those little boogers alive, and they weren't all the same either. Some of them were small, about 3 or 4 foot tall, with big black bulging eyes, hairless bodies, and tiny little mouths. Those little creatures didn't talk or react very much to anything, but some of the others were taller and looked a little more like us, and they were the ones who could communicate well and helped us with our experiments in reverse engineering. After the crash and capture by our military of several other ships, NASA brought in the top minds to work with the aliens, studying their ways and their crafts and how those crafts defied gravity and broke all the rules on speed and maneuverability. By the mid-1960s, there were 3 hangars located around the U.S. devoted only to those prototypes, and one of those was in Huntsville, Alabama. It's sat at the end of a little used airfield, and when I tell you the reverse engineering works, I mean it, he said. There were 4 crafts in those hangars, and every one of them was amazing, and for a time, we flew a couple of them around sometimes, but then they grounded us. They took away our privileges. They took away our alien visitors as well to some facility in Montana and discontinued the program altogether. Before the days of the space shuttle and after our moon launches and booster rockets, we were just placeholders at Redstone Arsenal, he said, holding card games on our shifts or playing early video games on the monitors. That is until Bobby Earl Stone showed up one day with the keys to one of those hangars at the old airfield, and he suggested we go and have a little fun. She was a sleek, gravity-defying silver orb working off a theory of hydrostasis and could evade radar, he said. It took us a while to get the hang of her, even though we were all seasoned pilots. She could do a vertical takeoff and be at 6,000 feet in 10 seconds, so maneuverable that you barely had to touch the controls at all to dart between tall trees in a forest or to follow the winding river north or south, buzzing riverboats, cars, and football fields full of gawking game-goers. The 4 of us ended up over the little town of Fyffe, Alabama one night. We buzzed a drive-in movie theater, laughing like madmen. We did a flyby on Main Street and chased a car along a winding mountain road and hovered over a diner watching people run for their cars and drop their malts and milkshakes all over the parking lot. We chased a herd of cattle, too, across a field, he said, and buzzed farmhouses. It was great fun. In fact, it was so much fun that the following week we did it again. But this time we decided we wanted to get us a steer and haul it back with us to the landing field. And we found a farm just outside of town and chased some cows around again and found us one. We beamed that beef up while the farmer was shooting at us with his shotgun, and we took off at hyper speed for Redstone again, he said. Can you believe this? The next evening, we fired up the grill and had us a nice cookout. That week, on the local news, there were several reports and interviews with officials and residents of Fyffe, including the farmer whose steer we had stolen. Movie crews and national news affiliates converged on the little town, and we decided to put in another appearance just for laughs, revisiting the scene of the crime a couple more times after that, he added. We were going to take her out on one more trip that followed, but discovered that we had been found out. We arrived at the hangar to discover that it was empty. Our toys had disappeared. They were gone, hauled away by some agents to an undisclosed location in the dead of night. So there it is, he said. I've bared my soul. Now I can go to the pearly gates with a clear conscience. I just hope one of those ugly little bug-eyed bastards aren't there waiting on me, he said. So there we have it. The mystery of the cow abductions in Fyffe. Have a good day.